Told you there was a monster at the end of this series. Haven't seen this guy since like 2 Mays ago, maybe the Hold On video. Look how big he's gotten. It's Terrence, everybody. And yay, welcome to the last of your first 10 guitar lessons. Now, I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I really think that after this lesson, it's time to set you free, because the very nature of guitar is there's so much to learn and so much to know that, first of all, no one can know everything, and second of all, your best bet is to go learn whatever you want to learn. If it's a song that's way out of your reach, I'm out of breath from bringing the tortoise upstairs. Anyways, he's heavy. If it's a song that's way out of your reach, you know, you might not finish it, but you're going to have a lot more fun trying to learn a song that you really want to learn than you're going to learn, you know, an easier song that you don't want to learn. And you're going to come across songs that are too hard for you, and that's okay, but I'm guessing you're here because you want to play guitar. And I'm guessing that that means you're willing to put some time into it. And if some of that time is spent looking for songs to play, right, well, you know, that's okay. That's part of it. So today, we are going to do the 10 chords, only 10 chords, that if you know them, and you have a capo, you will be able to play a surprising majority of the songs you would like to play. I don't know what that number is. I'd say 75% of chord songs, mind you. And you know your power chords, right? So all those are taken care of. And just your riff songs. You're not going to be... I mean, you can't play Preaching the End of the World. That's got crazy, crazy stuff in it. But I'm going to go with 75% of your average chord songs that you want to play. And this piece of paper, this reference material here, will be on my website, RyanLent.com, for you to print out and sleep with, you know, under your pillow. It is the UBCB, the Ultimate Beginner's Chord. No idea what the last B stood for, but it stood for something this morning when I was working on it. So there it is. And here we go. We're just going to go through all 10 chords. And then I'm going to direct you to a website called guitarplayerbox.com. You can click the chords that you know, and then it will give you a big list of songs with only those chords in it, and you can choose your capo. Anyways, enough rambling. E. 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 Here we go. Ready? I think you know E. Middle finger A2, ring finger D2, pointer finger G1. You already know that chord, but there it is for you. Now, when you say E, or when you write E, the way that's pronounced really is E major. There's 2 kinds of chords, major and minor. You can think of major chords as happy chords, and minor chords as sad chords. To play E minor, all we're doing is taking our pointer finger off. I think we already know that one too, but here we go. Listen to sad. Or sinister? I don't know. You might have a different association. Happy? Sinister. You hear it? Yeah, there you go. Major and minor chords. Next, F. Here's the deal. F is really, really actually played with your pointer finger across the E string first fret and the B string first fret. This is a really hard thing to do, so I'm going to give you a cheat after I explain the chord here. So what you kind of want to do is you need your pointer finger almost bending backwards, and then at the same time your middle finger is like it should be, straight up and down, perpendicular to the fret, right? And your ring finger as well. So your middle finger's on G2, your ring finger's on D3, you're strumming 4 strings. Because remember the rule, if it's anything other than E, A, or D, you strum from the fattest string with a finger on it. So that's the D string in this case. Now, if you can't do this yet, no surprise, lots of people can't do this yet. Put your pointer finger just on the B string first fret, and now we have an open E string. That chord is called F major 7. It's almost synonymous with F. You can almost always play it instead of F, but for our purposes, you always can. If you're working on F and it's just preventing you from doing a song, for God's sake, play F major 7. Pointer finger does not make a bar across both strings. The E's open. Almost just as good, usually 100% just as good. A note on weird numbers. If you're looking up songs and you see weird numbers after them, just erase all the numbers in your head. If you don't know what that means, or if you don't know that chord, or if you've had enough for the day and your brain's full, if you see F7, play F. If you see E minor 7, play E minor. Get rid of the 7. Okay, next chord G. You know G. A2, E3, ring finger on B3, pinky finger on E3. We're not doing F minor or G minor because they're just too much right now. And with a capo, you can get around having to learn to play them for a little while. Then, yeah. Anyways, A, you know A, D2, G2, B2, strum 5. Remember the rule, A chord, A string. And now we have A minor, A's sad counterpart. You're going to have to switch all your fingers around. This is not as convenient as E and E minor. Put your pointer finger on B1. Put your ring finger on G2. Put your middle finger on D2. Strum 5 again. That one sounds sad, not sinister. Here we go. Happy. Sad. B minor. I put this in here because, so B minor, I put this in here because, I'm just going to repeat myself. It'll more impact. Yeah, I put this in here because if you can play B minor, even this way, this is almost the whole B minor, but it is an entire B minor. It'll bring you from 35%, from our guitarplayerbox.com to 75% just with this one chord, because there's often no getting around it, even with the capo. So here's B minor, E2 with your pointer finger, B3 with your middle finger. Now this gets weird. Pinky finger goes on G4 and ring finger goes on D4. Remember the rule, it's not an E, an A, or a D, so we're gonna just strum 4. We're not playing B major. Oh my god, B7! Instead of, never mind, I'll throw that in at the end. Okay, yeah, B minor, there it is. Yeah. Okay, next, what was I going to say? Oh, here's the cool thing about this chord. Lots of bang for your buck because there's no open strings in this chord. It's the only chord you know, and the only chord on this sheet with no open strings. So if you move anywhere, all of the notes retain the same relationship to each other. They just get higher or lower, right? So here you go. Here's B minor. One lower would be B flat minor. Should you run into B flat minor, flat means one down. Sharp means one up. Not to confuse matters more, but there's no such thing as B sharp. So this would be C minor. This would be C sharp minor. I'm not changing anything except the fret. D minor. But we have an easier way of playing D minor coming up. If B minor is just too frustrating, you can stop at 3 strings. E1, B2, G3. It's a 3-string chord. That's not very exciting. It'll kind of take the life out of whatever you're doing if you do that, but if it's a deal breaker, play B minor with 3 strings like that. That's a lot easier. What's next? C, you know C. B1, D2, A3. Strum 5. Great. Watch how easy this changes. We just learned A minor, right? B1, G2, D2. The only difference between A minor and C is your ring finger is going to go from the G string 2nd fret to the A string 3rd fret. By the way, here's a progression that's called the ice cream changes, and it's called the ice cream changes because it has been universally agreed as the single most pleasant chord change, which is to say C, you know all these chords now, A minor, remember how easy this is, followed by F, followed by G. If you have a capo, you can now play every song from the 50s. I digress. We left off at D, you know D. G2, E2, B3, and B, C. Strum 4, because it's a D chord, D string. And the chord that everyone always forgets, and the last chord on our list is D minor. No one ever remembers this chord. If you can just make it your duty in life to remember this chord, then you'll know D minor. So E1 with your pointer finger, baby E1, G2 with your middle finger, and B3 with your ring finger. It's also a D chord, strum 4 strings. D's sad counterpart. There you go. And I said I was going to mention, oh, look what's interesting about just here, this. Remember when we did E, and all we did was take our pointer finger off to play E minor? So what happened was a note out of our E chord went down by 1 fret, because from the first fret to the open fret is 1 fret, right? 1 minus 1 is 0. Same exact thing happens with our A chord. Remember, B string goes from 2, gotta switch your fingers all around, but to 1. That's the thing that makes minor chords sound like minor chord. One note goes down 1 fret. That is to say, I don't know what I was just gonna say. Same thing happens with D. Your baby E string goes from the 2nd fret, but you gotta switch your fingers all around, to the 1st fret. So that might be helpful in remembering. This is a D. You could play your D like this, if that makes sense to you. And then D minor is just that. Yeah, and I said I was gonna show you B7, because B7 is often a good replacement for B, which I did not show you because that's a bar chord. Really, there's just 4 more shapes, and then you can really play every single major and minor chord that there is, but that's for another video. Here's B7, bonus. A2 with your middle finger. D1 with your pointer finger. G2 with your ring finger. And E2, baby E2, with your pinky finger. So what you got is, if you start on the A string, you skip a string and skip a string, and they're all in the 2nd fret with your middle ring pinky finger, and then your pointer finger sneaks back on D1. That's another way of thinking about that. It's not an E, an A, or a D chord, so strum 5. This is my favorite open chord. An open chord is anything with an open string, so B minor is not an open chord, but there's those two together. They almost kind of sound the same because it's a 7 chord. Here's B major. B minor. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. That's the, and the cool thing about this website is you can set how high you're willing to put the capo. So you can click, I know A, E, D, and B minor, and I'm willing to put the capo up as far as the 4th fret, or whatever. You know, you don't want to put it on the 9th. It gets hard to do everything. And then it will give you this massive list of songs, and once you've got 5 chords, the list is so massive, and if you have 6, it's ridiculously massive. It will keep you busy for a long time. And yeah, like I said, keep at it. Don't be disappointed if you look up a video and you're like, oh my god, that's too hard for me. You know, that's okay. Come back, make a note of it. Come back in 6 months, because remember what Justin Taylor said. He's our buddy in the UK. He said, having learned a bunch of the songs that I was doing, he was never able to play one of the Metallica songs, and after he learned a whole bunch of other songs, he accidentally learned everything he needed to learn, or, you know, without trying, to play the Metallica song, and then he went back to it, and he was miraculously able to do it. So I loved that story. That was my brief synopsis, but yeah, that will happen to you too if you just keep trying to play whatever the heck you want to play. And that's it. That's the end of your first 10 guitar lessons. I'm kind of sad. I'm going to take a little break from the structured thing every week, maybe just a few weeks, and we'll just do a song on Sundays, and or Mondays rather, and then we're gonna get into the series of Ugh, okay, it's time to learn music theory. So that'll be fun, and that'll start really slow and beginnery too. So that's gonna help everybody, including those among us who have had now just 10 guitar lessons. So thank you so much for being here. This has been a fun one. I hope we got you going. That was the goal, to get you going. And now you're free. Go learn whatever you want. You have my blessing. And that's it. I'm going to go now. Terrence and Ryan out. Bye. Oh yeah, see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.